Hi friends, I'm Maud MacDonald, the Retro Quilter, and today I'm going to show you how to take your hexies that you've prepared like this and make them into hexie flowers like this. Let's go. All right. Let's make sure we have all of our hand sewing tools and everything ready to go. First, hexies. You gotta have hexies if you're gonna sew a hexie flower. So I've got my center in a different fabric and the hexie petals. If you wanted to, you could lay it out like however formation you wanted to beforehand, or you could sew as you go, whatever you please. I've got something to cut my thread with later on. I've of course got a needle. This is just a thin, cheap little needle, and I've got it threaded with a piece of thread. This is about, say, 25-ish inches long. I've cut it to, and I am not knotting this. You're not going to knot it, okay? The thread that I am using, this is an Aurifil 80 weight, which means that it's very thin. You see that? It's thin. Okay. And it's nice to use a thin fabric because these are hand stitches, and you might see more hand stitches than you would like a machine. So this, using a smaller thread, means you're probably not going to see them as much. And of course, I'm using a color that is going to blend with my fabric choices in case you do see them, because I don't want you to see the stitches. And I'm using a leather thimble and push it on to the top of my middle finger so that when I'm pushing the needle through, my fingers don't get sore. And I'm ready to go. So when I start, my needle ready. I'm all threaded here. I'm going to start with the center, and all of your hexie petals, so to speak, are going to come off of that. So what I'm going to do is line up the center edge to the petal edge, I suppose. And you're going to start at the very corner of it. Okay. Now you're kind of looking to put it in, you're not putting it in deep, okay? Like you're not going to put it through the paper. You're trying to find that little sweet spot that's between your paper template and the fabric. So really, you're kind of only going through just this little tiny smidge up top, okay? I'm going to pull that through. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail, and I'm going to hold that little tail down, and I'm going to go through again. Okay, not pulling it all the way through this time because I'm knotting it. So I'm going to take this front thread, wrap it around the front portion of the needle, say 2 or 3 times, and pull the thread back towards the fabric. And now you see I'm holding the threads with my other fingers. That will come later. Don't worry about it right now. I'll probably feel a little bit awkward, but as you do it a few times, this will just happen naturally. And now we're going to pull the needle through. Pull it a bit slow. Keep your other fingers in place because you don't want to create any unwanted knots. Just the knot that we're trying to create here at the edge. Okay, so we've got a knot of our first knot. Okay. Now, I'm just going to do a simple whip stitch. You don't really need to do a ton of stitches. You just really need enough to hold it into place, okay? Sometimes you get a little bit of trouble. Okay. I would recommend trying to do your stitches as evenly spaced as possible, just because it looks nice, like nicer and neater. Am I not saying proper words? I don't think I am. I think maybe I need more coffee. Okay, reached the other edge. So I'm going to put it through once, and just as we did before, get that little tail out of there. I'm going to put it through. I'm going to take the thread, wrap it around the front of the needle a few times, pull the thread back so it touches the fabric. Now holding it down with my other fingers, pull the needle through. And we've created another knot. So you want to do a knot at the beginning and the end of each edge, okay? So let's see. And we've sewn our first petal on to our center of our hexie flower. Look at that. So my thread has ended here. So that's where I'm going to do my next petal. So again, align your edge of your center hexie to your outer hexie, or your center to your petals, however you want to word it. Putting it through at the edge, pull it through once, go back in again, and we're going to knot it. Knotting it by pulling this back, holding, pull it through. All right, we got a nice clean knot. A whip stitch. Now you see that? Like, it's literally just a few hairs almost of the fabric, okay? You don't need a lot to hold it together. Come on, guy. There we go. Okay, pulled it through the edge once. I'm going to knot it, wrap it around a few times, pull it back, pull it through, created a knot, and voila, we've got two now. So first, you're going to do all of your petals or around, or your outer hexies around the center, and then we will go back and connect them afterwards. Okay, I have sewn all the outer hexie petals, so to speak, onto the center. So now we need to sew those together. First off, we are going to take out I haven't cut my thread, by the way, but first I'm going to take out middle or the center paper. Okay, middle paper is out. So now you see I can fold it. All right. So my thread is still connected. So I'm going to find where that left off. And that's where I'm going to start. Okay, so getting ready here. I'm going to start from the inner part and move out to the outer. And same thing, you're going to knot the start, knot the end, whip stitch in between. Knotting the end. Okay. Now, this is where I like to cut it. I leave a tail about 1 inch or so long, cut it, and then I'll move on to the next edge. Some people prefer to just use a continuous piece of thread and keep going because you are technically knotting it at the ends of each edge. So it really wouldn't make a difference, but I just find that this is a little bit cleaner. And that's how I like to do it. So that's what I do. And I encourage you to find how you prefer it as well. So we're just going to continue doing that until all of the edges of the outer hexies or your petals. Oh, see, I pulled that through. I didn't hold it down. And that's okay. We'll just try again. There we go. All right, got it all sewn together, ready to go. So if you are using the stabilizer, you would not be taking it out, but because we're using paper, you'll need to take them out. But if you are going to be sewing hexies together, you're going to want to keep those papers in and kind of take them out as you go. Okay, if you are just going to be, say, appliquing this onto something or other, then you could take them out now and applique it on. And there you go. That's how you do a EPP Hexie flower. Thanks for joining me.